So when you buy Salesforce, this is really, really important to understand. A lot of people get this wrong, especially when you first buy it. Salesforce is not going to be just a tool or just a piece of software. It's going to end up being the brain of your company or the single source of truth where you refer to this tool and it's going to show you all the data about how your business is performing so that you can grow the business faster. Most people will buy this. They think that Salesforce is just a piece of software and they look at the features only. So they'll look at it and they say, well, it tracks all of our deals and it's going to store all the contacts and it's going to make some reports and dashboards for us. And that's really where it ends. Yes, it technically does those things. Yes, those are going to be helpful for you and we need to use those features, but that's not what the ultimate feature is of purchasing a CRM. Okay. So most companies get confused about this because when they use it that way, they only use it as a tool. Everybody starts operating in little silos. So you have like your sales team and the sales manager over there, and maybe your sales operations leader, and they're all going to do their own thing. They're going to use Salesforce in their own way as a tool, but then all of the reports for what they're doing with tracking leads and how many activities they've done and their quota that they're hitting and how they're going to be calculating commission, they're kind of doing that all on their own. They do that within Google Sheets or an Excel sheet, and they run it on their own. Okay, well that's kind of okay, but the problem starts when they bring that to a meeting, and now let's say you as the leadership, you guys are using Salesforce for all those same things. You're using it for reports, dashboards, commissions, tracking leads, tracking activities. Well, now they're going to bring an Excel sheet or a Google sheet to the meeting, and you're going to be competing against them by looking at numbers in Salesforce. And now this is where the issue starts. Okay. And this goes for every department within the business. So marketing is going to do this, support's going to do this, sales is going to do this. And so when I've been in these meetings plenty of times, this is where we spend a lot of our time getting frustrated with one another. We don't make decisions because we can't trust one another. We can't trust the data. You kind of start getting a little bit mad at certain departments because you think they're doing things wrong and they're holding you up and they're not allowing you guys to grow as a business. And so, really, like I have here, everybody has a story when they do it this way. And what you want to do is avoid having individual stories. We want one truth, one story for how the overall business is performing. Okay, so we don't want sales, marketing, support all competing against each other to try to tell the CEO or the C-suite team what's happening. When no one agrees, you're going to slow down how fast the company grows. All right. So here's what we do. The better scenario, imagine if this were to happen. Okay. So let's just define what the brain should be of the company. This is kind of a little fundamental here, but this is important. So imagine if your body in general, right, had two brains or three brains or no brain at all. Pretty self-explanatory. You wouldn't be able to do anything, right? The company is the exact same way. You have to have something out there that controls everything that's happening for the business so that we know, hey, everything gets piped into this one place. And then whatever that thing tells us, when we look at the data in that one place, that's what we're going to base decisions on. We're not going to base decisions on these random Google Sheets over here and whatever marketing did on their campaign there and whatever support's hearing from the clients over here. We want it all centralized in one spot. Okay. So when data is everywhere like this is when we have people fighting over numbers. This is when we get customers that are getting wrong information. Maybe we send them the wrong onboarding information, or we tell them to go to the wrong places to find features for our product, or we send somebody out to do a specific service and it's not the right one. All of this gets mixed up when we start siloing each other out. Everybody in the business rolls up to one person, one boss. And so we want all the data to do the exact same thing. This will help you so your reports can match one another. We can make decisions with more confidence. Leaders stop guessing. We actually can trust what we see on the paper. Okay. So here's what you're going to do. This is how we shift our mentality away from something like that. And we can get into a better mentality now that we've bought Salesforce and we treat it the right way. So Salesforce, yes, it's a piece of software, but it's not just that. Okay. It's going to become this brain of the company. It's going to hold all the memories. It's going to connect all the teams together, and it's going to help you guys make decisions. And as you do this, you're going to get much quicker at making those decisions because you can trust what you see there. Okay. This is where all of the truth of the business is going to live. When you have one single source of truth or one brain, what you'll see here is that sales is going to see the same data that marketing sees. Support's going to see the full customer story. Leaders are going to see numbers that actually are accurate. All those things change, which then dramatically increases the chance of you guys being able to make a decision that you all trust together and feel confident in making so that we can move things forward. Now, an example I feel like I use all the time, but it's an easy one. This is an example of what I mean by that. If we have marketing and they start sending out a bunch of different ads into the world, okay? So let's pretend we have Facebook ads, we have LinkedIn ads, and we have Google ads. If they start running our ad budget up and they spend in all these different areas, the business in general, right off the bat, is going to care which one is performing the best so that we can spend more money on that channel and likely cut the amount of money we're spending on the other ones or figure out how we can make those ones better so that we can dial it in, right? So that's kind of 101 marketing. Now, if we have all of this data getting sourced into Salesforce instead of these random reports that all these different marketers are going to run, now your leadership can see it, sales can see it, support can see it. And so when we have this group meeting, we can now say, well, it looks like our Facebook ads are driving the most leads to the sales team. And then it looks like the Google ads are actually the ones that convert the most sales, though. So we're getting a lot of volume from Facebook. A lot of people come through, but the best, most qualified leads are actually coming from our Google ads. So what is the disconnect here? How can we improve Google ads to get more volume? How can we change the Facebook ads to convert better, right? That's a more productive conversation. We're not even talking about the numbers anymore. We're just looking at them. We're determining what those things mean. And now we can make the business a lot better by increasing those numbers, dialing in our campaign efforts versus trying to argue whether or not that was the right count of how many leads came through or that was the right amount of conversions that happened last month. We're not arguing about that stuff anymore. And it speeds things up dramatically, right? So we all start to work as one team, which is what we want to do. When you don't get slow decisions, angry customers, lost deals, wasted money, all of this stuff is going to move much smoother within the business. And that is the primary function of why you bought Salesforce in the first place. There's likely this time that you met with a sales rep and they showed you all this cool stuff that it does, all these automations you can have. And that's probably why you felt that if I just buy this, my life is going to be a lot easier. And that is true. You still need somebody to set it up. You still need to be able to know what you're looking for. And that does start from the beginning of knowing that this is the place we're going to have all of our information go to. Okay. So when that stuff happens, it's not because your team's bad. It's likely because this brain is broken or it's not working or you haven't solidified Salesforce to say that's the brain of the company. Instead, we're all just isolated in our own silos doing our own thing. Okay. So this is not about features. It's not going to be us focusing on dashboards, automation, and fancy tools right off the bat. What we're really trying to do with Salesforce right as we buy it is set up trust. We want people to trust what is in there, that it works, that it helps them complete their job. Sales wants to use it if they feel like it's going to help them close more deals. Marketing wants to use it if they feel like they can track their marketing sources better. Support's going to use it if they feel like they can keep accounts from churning. So all of those things happen when we just make it simple in the beginning, and this is the place that we're going to have everything go to, okay? So a big question like I had at the beginning is, if your CEO asked, what is really happening right now, would everybody confidently right now in your business give the same answer? And if the answer is no, this is a really good signal to you that you haven't established the brain of the company yet. If you feel like we're all going to argue about numbers and we're going to pull all these different Google Sheets or Excel reports or different tools from their reporting, Apollo reports and all that kind of stuff, if you feel like that's happening right now in your meetings, good signal that you have not established this yet, okay? So stop treating it like a piece of software. Start treating it like your memory bank. This is really where you want everything to go. Now, to end this, as you grow, depending on where you're at, this is really 101 when you first buy it, what you should do. And typically where I see the problems be maybe from 3 million up to like 15 million in revenue. I feel like people are kind of working out these kinks. Obviously, always one-off cases. There could always be someone much bigger, much smaller that has that problem. But that's usually where I see people kind of hit and miss of trying to figure this out. As you've now established this, one last little piece of advice I would say is I see most companies that get closer to that 100 million revenue, this is when they would actually try to establish where they want data to go. And Salesforce will have still continue to be the brain in the sense that anything that's actionable, that we can take action on, that we want to see reports on today, that's where they keep that information. Then anything historical or anything that's like bigger data that we need to have on the back end to look at trends and things like that, they'll actually establish what they call a data lake. A really popular one for that is Snowflake. You'll establish that, and then it's a cheaper way to store your data. And those tools over there, like a Snowflake, are more set up for something like a data lake. You still can integrate Snowflake and Salesforce to pipe data in and out and sync together, which you should. So that's maybe more of a pro tip as you approach that long end. I promised that at the beginning, so I wanted to make sure I say that. So this is a really cool video for anybody that has just purchased this. Like I said, please go back to your meetings this week if you're watching this now and you feel like this is a problem, and try to get everybody aligned on this being your single source of truth and getting everybody onto this. There's a few other videos I have on my channel that explain a little bit more now from here. There's a good video that I did also recently saying don't hire a consultant yet. Try these things first. Something along that title. Go and watch that one. That'll actually give you the next 5 steps of what you should do. And that will actually help you clean up your data and get into a better position before you feel like you have to maybe pull in any type of Salesforce support to continue to build that out for you. Okay, so if this is interesting to you, you haven't set this up yet, or you just bought Salesforce, you're really just not sure how to go about this, you do want to just jump into working with a consultant first to just speed it all up, there is a link in the description below. You can click that. We'll see if we're a good fit for you guys. If we are, we'd love to come in, talk about what your business does, set it up specifically for you guys and get you guys going and grow to the next revenue goal that you have. If that's you, look forward to speaking with you soon. Thanks.